The United Nations Foundation's Nothing But Nets campaign is committed to working alongside the global community towards the goal of ending malaria worldwide. Nothing But Nets champions play an instrumental role in the fight against malaria by raising awareness, funding, and voices for the importance of continued, strong U.S. leadership and funding for the UN and life-saving malaria programs. Nothing But Nets recently worked with partners to encourage the United States Congress to step up the fight against malaria, which resulted in significant increases for the President's Malaria Initiative, also known as PMI, and the Global Funds to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria, also known as the Global Fund. The U.S. pledge helped secure a historic $14 billion in global commitments for the Global Fund for 2020 through 2022, which will help save 16 million lives and help end the epidemics of AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Since U.S. budgets are proposed and funded by Congress on an annual basis, it is critical that champions build relationships with their members of Congress and continually communicate and meet with their offices to remind them of the critical importance of these programs. To understand the vital importance of advocacy efforts, here is a snapshot of the budget process. The government's fiscal year runs from October 1st to September 30th of the following year. The budget process begins with the President proposing their annual budget to Congress, typically by the first Monday in February. The bill then goes to Congress. Both chambers, the House of Representatives and the Senate, analyze the President's budget and draft a budget resolution. Then, a conference committee resolves the differences and presents their version of the bill. The bill then goes to the relevant appropriations committees, in this case the State Foreign Operations and Related Programs, also known as SFOPs, subcommittees, which draft their appropriation bills. The bills are then voted on and again go to a conference committee to resolve differences. Once Congress passes their final funding bill, it goes to the President for their signature or veto. If the President does not sign the bill by September 30th, the government will not have a budget for the next fiscal year, and a continuing resolution, also known as a CR, which is level funding, will go into place until a new budget is passed. For PMI and the Global Fund, the budget signed by the President determines how much of the critical life-saving work they can do. As Congress works on the budget, our champions step up the fight to ensure their elected officials know these programs are important to them. By participating in our annual Leadership Summit and stepping up the fight at home and throughout the year, champions do the vital work of making sure congressional leaders are fully aware of the importance of ending malaria for millions of people around the world. For every call made, every letter written, every fundraiser held, and every meeting with members of Congress, champions are leading the way in protecting funding for life-saving programs like the Global Fund and PMI. With funding that's a fraction of 1% of the overall U.S. federal budget, the UN, WHO, PMI, and Global Fund have been game changers in the fight against malaria. They've been major drivers of the incredible progress over the last 2 decades. 2 billion bed nets have been distributed, malaria cases have been significantly reduced, and more than 7 million lives have been saved. PMI and Global Fund support comprehensive programs including the deployment of life-saving tools such as bed nets, diagnostics, and treatment. They also train and equip health workers, improve case management and surveillance, and strengthen health systems overall. Nothing But Nets champions enable us to make a significant impact in the fight to end malaria. Thanks to our champions' awareness and fundraising efforts, we protect the most vulnerable people, children, pregnant women, and people living as refugees from malaria by providing bed nets and other life-saving tools. Thanks to our champions' advocacy, we help secure continued and increased funding for life-saving programs that have significantly decreased cases and deaths from malaria. Together with our partners, we have helped to dramatically cut malaria death rates and saved millions of lives. We've made amazing progress, but a child currently dies from malaria every 2 minutes, so there's more work to be done. This is not the time to take our foot off the gas pedal. In fact, it's time to step up the fight. Our champions will continue raising awareness, funds, and our voices to support life-saving programs until we end malaria and achieve a malaria-free world.